What's up, everybody? Welcome to School of FAB. Last week we cut this body line out and we moved it up. Now time to get it done. Now what I'm looking at is I'm trying to make sure that this pulls outward and this doesn't suck in. You know what I mean? There we go. I can hold that there. Excuse me 1 second. Look at there. I love it when that happens. And now I just pull out just a little bit here. Make this whole corner match. Try not to. Remember, once you start seeing stuff bend or you don't like it to bend, that's when you stop. But if things are moving your way, tap away. Let's go down a sec. I go over here now. Oh, it's not too bad. Got this little cheap dolly, but I like the shape of it. We're gonna hit it right here in this area so I can get flush. I don't have much of a swing, so it's just all forearm right there. It's too thick if you try to use any kind of stud gun to try to pull it. This stuff is not moving. That's the whole reason why we're cutting out and beating it out and welding it back in, because it's so thick. It seems to have moved just a little bit, so I'll continue to beat on it. We're almost there. I don't want to manipulate it, move it too much. I just want to make sure that we can both move a little bit. This inward, this plate outward. Same here. And then we are getting somewhere. Okay, 2 tools I found. I found this. It's metal. I hope it really works because I was going to throw it away and I kept it. Or maybe I could try to tap it out with this, which I hope not, because this thing is super heavy. I can imagine setting it in there nicely, or even trying to hold it while I'm sticking my arm through. I hope this works. Let's see this dolly here. Woo. I guess Big Bertha it is. Okay, this is going to take a minute. So now that I've got my lines all lined up, I've got it welded, and now I'm going to grind it down, clean it up, and move on to the next piece. So here we have it, my friends. We have the dents fixed. We have sandblasted, sprayed gems on it, rust killer, epoxy primered it, sealed it very well. Next, we cut these out, raised them up. Now our body lines match. And the same on this side. So now that this is done, next step, let's get this thing body works. And welcome to the past driver's side. I almost said it again. The driver's side. Here we are. I blocked the other side. I always try to do one side so I can get an idea how long it's going to take me. So whenever I film the one side you guys see, it all goes smooth and easy. Well, I give you some heads up. It's not going to go so smooth. My paint rep guy said you can epoxy primer, like filler primer, and just build it up and block it out. Not true. It's super hard. It gums up on your paper. Stick to one coat of epoxy primer and then filler primer over it the next day or the day after. But do not let this stuff dry, and you have to block it out. Super hard. So today, I'm going to start blocking on this epoxy primer. I've worked for a few, respected shops in the past, and let me tell you, no matter how good you do your metal work, they'll fill it top to bottom and, spread filler on the entire thing, which always guarantees it to come out straight. I've actually been able to figure out a way to just fill your major spots. Once your major spots get filled, then the rest is all primer. So I'm going to teach y'all that way because it's a little bit less work and you get the same result. Sometimes I think it's a better result because you're on your original foundation, which is this right here, what we're filling. So I say let's get started. Okay, let's talk about fillers a little bit, okay? Now there's a word out there, it's a bad word, people say it all the time, and I just want to clear it all right now. The word is Bondo. So we don't use Bondo, okay? Bondo is a brand, a cheap brand. It's been around since the beginning of doing body work. Game changer. Let me show y'all. This here is called filler. The kind we're using, 3M Platinum Plus filler. It didn't say Bondo, filler. And I use this only because when I strip a body down to bare metal, I give it a lifetime guarantee on my work, and once again, we don't use Bondo, we use filler, and it's not how much you put on it, but how much comes off, okay? Because at the end of the day, anything wavy is still wavy and ugly, so, and we don't do wavy or ugly. Now, filler, when you open it, it always separates, it's got some kind of oily stuff on top, and on bottom is where all the filler is, and you really want it to mix really well. What I've learned that works the best is get you a paint shaker. Of course, I have a paint shaker because I was a painter for a super long time, and it's just necessary. But when you put your filler on here, it comes out so soft. You spread it, you block it. Man, just let me show y'all. I'm talking too much. Okay, after I left it for about 5 minutes, maybe, I don't know. I normally wait until the compressor comes back on, and then I'm like, okay, that's enough time. So let's look at what it looks like. Oh, my knife is missing. I will use my coin. Look at that. So now you guys see how soft it is, and it's mixed, and it's soft. And I should have used the other spreader, but it's all good. So now you see how I do it to keep my filler at its peak performance. And I'm already making a mess. And I haven't even started.
If you don't have a paint shaker.
We don't have a paint shaker. Just get a paint stick. You can stir it. Most of the time you're going to end up breaking it. So put you 2 paint sticks, wrap some tape around it, and stir away. You know what I'm talking about? At the end of the day.
Get it mixed.
Get it mixed. It makes it a lot easier when you're spreading it. It makes it a lot easier when you're mixing it. Just all the way around. My little can with a little bit of thinner. I know some shops hate to waste thinner, but this is actually saving spreaders and you're not having to order them. All right, here we go. Next thing, I'm about to clean this panel off, but look at this. Just touching the filler. I just touched it once. So get ready to get dirty. Filler is no joke. So here we go. Wax and grease remover. My spray bottle broke. I dropped it, but it works. It kind of works a lot. I've already hammered and dollied all my vents, got them as flat as possible, sanded the entire panel. Now I'm getting ready for some filler work. Always clean your panels before you do any filler work. It just makes, it guarantees that it's on there and there's nothing between you and your paint job ever messing up. You can guarantee that if you're painting bubbles or something, that it definitely wasn't from the body work. So now, even though we're not going to spread filler on the entire panel, I still want to clean the entire panel because if I can possibly get every area I need filled, and then I can just block and get this panel fully completed. Okie doke. See all the boo-boo? Squeezing the pocket before I forget. Back to the mess. I'm going to use a small spreader. I'm going to start off with the top. As you guys know, every time I do the top side of a bed, it's always easier to just cover the entire thing from front to back. You block it out, it blocks out straight every time, and you don't have to keep coming back and redoing it. So there's areas on vehicles that after so many years you just learn to do, you know. When you get a vehicle in brand new from the factory, it comes with all kinds of waves. So when you bring it to people like us and you want to do some custom paint job or some whatever, when you do your body work, you have to make sure that it's all straight. And factory straight is not straight. Anything from the dealership, bring it to me and I'll show you all the dents. I'll show you all the waves. You know, except BMW and Mercedes, boy, their cars are on point. So now, your filler. You see me shaking it. No matter how many times, shake it after every use before you use it, because you're going to sit there and spread it and all this liquid's going to come out.
You mean hardener?
What did I say?
You said fill. You called that filler. You said.
Oh, okay, hardener. So yeah, our hardener, make sure you shake it very well every single time you use it, because even just sitting there for 5 minutes, it separates, and you don't want this to separate. When you spread it on here, see, look at that, and I spread it good. Awesome.
Perfect example. You thought you were done shaking? Keep shaking.
All right, let's see if this works. Oh, look at that. Okay, there it is. So you've seen how serious this hardener game is.
Is that a good ratio of how much filler to hardener?
Yeah, well, you kind of have to test it. You know, it depends on the heat outside. If it's cold outside, you may need a little more. But if it's warm outside, then you may need a little less. In here, it's hot, so we're just playing it by ear. As long as I see it change color, shoot, I'm good. What you don't want to do is not put enough in there and let it sit there forever. Now for this, I'm going to use a small spreader to actually put it on the vehicle. And then I'm going to use my big spreader to spread it where I need. You have to be fast, especially when it's hot, because this thing will dry on you and then laugh at you, all in one setting. So make sure my big spreader come wide. I can feel it. I can feel it already trying to get hard. I can feel the difference in the texture of the filler as I'm spreading it. It is starting to cure. So as it cures, it makes it a little bit harder to spread. But I'm not the greatest spreader. So there goes the entire top. Once you do all your hammer and dolly marks that you see, go ahead and hit them up. Oh yeah, it's not going to be no good after this is right here. You see it? That means it's getting hard. So, time to clean my board. Now, no, I've shown y'all this before. I will show y'all again how I do it in real time. Paint thinner for acetone. When we were in California, there's acetone, there's not really paint thinner. Here we have washer thinner, which works great, especially for your paint gun. Not as strong as paint thinner, but gets the job done. Just look how nice that is. Look at that. Ready to dirty it up again.
And for the back of the board, because that is not a new board.
No, this isn't a new board. I've actually had this board for about 16, 17 years. As you can see the back of it, I don't care. And it can stay dirty. Look at that. The board is as clean as your work. Alright, I know what it looks like, but it's not that bad. See all this filler I put on there? Well, remember we started off hammer and dolly, all our high spots, low spots. We blocked it so we can see them, and we hammered on the high spots. And now we are fine-tuning it. So now over here, let me show you. These are my tools. Let me show you why I'm using them for tools. The screwdriver. You may be asking, why is the screwdriver, what does that have anything to do with bodywork? Well, let me show you. See, these have holes where the molding goes through. And on some of these, I kind of filled over it. And the best way to do it without destroying your filler is here I'm using a number 2, a Phillips head screwdriver, and I see that it's too small. So then I go get my number 3 Phillips screwdriver, and I'll come over here and just spin it. Let's come to this one right here. Look at this one. We go from there to there, and there to there. So now you know. And you do this first, you don't want to lose your hose. You want to be in full control. So secondly, I brought the hacksaw. Why did I bring the hacksaw? Well, as you see, I wanted my lines to be super flush, okay? Just like I make the doors disappear. This has to look like a one piece when you're looking at it down the side, you know? Now, I could have wiped it off whenever it was wet, but I didn't. So now I'll have to sit in here, and I've got the tedious job of making my liner. So it's no biggie. And last but not least, we get to the business, the main business, which is blocking this thing straight. Here I'll be using 80 grit sandpaper. Just break it off. So here I will go at a, what is it called?
Crosshatch.
Crosshatch action. And I've got a theory, I don't know, because I can block this thing in 80, I can wipe it down, and I can see, not a shine, but a sheen. I can see a sheen of, in here would be the rafters. And I believe in a certain speed, you know what I mean? Like, you got to block it kind of at an exaggerated pace, you know what I mean? I could be wrong, but it's just always been my theory, and I've had some pretty nice paint jobs that came out super nice because of my body work. So I'm just saying, if there's any scientists out there, help me prove it. So there's really no art to blocking, but there is a language like all other things in life, and the language here, and I'm just blocking a little bit just so you can start to see that I'm starting to break through here, which means I'm putting too much pressure on this side, or this is just super low. And you can see my low spots that I haven't hit yet, where it's sanding real nice, and then my low spots. Now I'm going to keep blocking on this. If it starts to look like it's going to be super low, I'm going to come back and refill it, and I'll show you that if we run into it. So let's hope we don't. But surely you never get it on your first shot. So just get used to putting mud on, taking it off, putting it on, taking it off. All right, I'm just going to sand this, throw a little bit of primer on it. I'm not going to film it only because I really need to get started on the floors, and there's a ton to do on the floors. All right, here we are, interior now. The floors have a little bit of rust issues that we're trying to take care of. Now we're going to peel this, whatever it is, arthritis maker. If our hands are still willing, then we won't keep going. So let's get this removed, and once all this, whatever it is removed, and then we can get to the problem, which is the floor. And it looks like we're going to be cutting out quite a bit of floor, so we'll see once all this is gone. Let me tell you how necessary it is to get all that stuff off. Even though we are cutting the majority of the floor out, we still have to clean it up and get rid of all of that, because I wouldn't want to work on something that messy. And also, when I finish it and complete it and take my final pictures, I want it all to look great.
And that stuff was super sticky.
Very sticky. I showered, I scrubbed 8 times, and still glue on my elbows, glue on my knees, glue on my new pants I just bought. Let's hope we don't run into that again. I probably will never, because I'll just have it sandblasted off. But it was the first time for everything, and I've learned the hard way. We peeled the, I don't know what you call it. In the old school days, they called it dum-dum. Look at my hands. Look, one. Look at this one. Yep. So I earned me some stripes today. Peeling it off. So anyways, as we're taking it off, you can feel that this floor is all beat up. It's all floppy up and down. I thought it was a different size of metal because the outside still feels thicker than the inside still. So right here they welded a plate on it, not good. And you see up there they welded, it looks like they set the floor on top of the floor, brazed it in, and now the body mount is going to be an issue. So we're going to have to do some major fabrication. So that's part one of the floor.
So they just put metal on top of metal.
Pretty much. Right here you can even see it's flat. It doesn't even have a lip because it's just one plate going all the way across. A flat plate that got dented up. So I don't know what gauge this is, but when we cut it out, we'll find out. This original stuff, you can see patches in there. I mean, you work with what you have, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's what you have, and as far as you want to take it. So just looking here, the cab corners right underneath the speaker, you see that all that's been welded into the floor. It's not factory. No hate. No hate.
Just gotta fix it, right?
We just have to fix it, yeah. Because it's kind of sketch. And the last thing we want is for dude to fall through the floor. That would not be good. You see these bolts? See how long they are? There's one behind the air conditioner, and I can't get it, so I have to do it by hand because I have nothing small enough to reach back there and ratchet it out. So I thought my fingers were cramping. Now I'm about to pull this last piece out. I mean, once we cut it all out, of course, we're going to clean it real well. So when we put it back in, everything will kind of look sort of factory-ish is the key. And if we can make that happen, and then we can just seal it really well with epoxy primer, that'll protect it from getting rusted. And, you know, take it a step further. If you wanted to put any kind of liner on it, you could. You know, I've used bed liner before, and then single stage black over it. You know, it works well, looks awesome. So there's several different ways you can take it. This one, I'm sure we'll just keep it super clean, and we'll probably end up putting the same kind of whatever that gooey stuff was, sound deadener. I don't know who made that stuff. I'm sure it goes on easy, and I know it doesn't come off as easy. Look at here. There it is. Look what's underneath all that junk. Some nice, clean, super clean, nice metal, just like the outside. Unfortunately, it didn't roll off into the floor pans. Look at this. It oil canned it. We're not even supposed to be able to move these floors at all.
It's awful.
It's very awful.
He was sitting there comfortably driving this truck.
Yep, and the entire time, this side and that side were both moving because they are so warped. And you can just see the warpage. There was this oil can in both sides as the truck was driving. You see, the plan of attack is we're going to replace the entire left side and the entire right side all the way up to the toe board area.
Like this show? Want more? Then head to WatchPTTV.com, the new 100% free PowerTube TV streaming network. Home of the best classic and new motorsports racing and build shows on the web.